Good morning and welcome back to Coins and Cash with Britini if you are a returning viewer, and welcome if it's your first time here. My name is Britini and I like to go over collectible coins, paper money, and bullion. And in today's video, I will be going over 10 $10 bills that I think you should know about. Up first, we have a 2017 Federal Reserve note from Minneapolis, graded by PMG, a 65 EPQ. And taking a look at the serial number, we have a fancy radar serial number, which means the serial number can be read forwards and backwards and be exactly the same. So due to the high grade in the fancy serial number, this note sold for $97 on January 10th of this year. Our second note of the day is a 2009 Federal Reserve note from Chicago. This is an uncut sheet of 4, also known as a quartet. These sheets can be purchased directly from the BEP's website. As of right now, there are none available. However, if it does become available, it does show on their website that it is $69 to purchase. So someone took a $69 purchase and turned it into $149 on February 21st of this year. Our third note of the day is a Federal Reserve note from Chicago. This is graded by PMG, a 67 EPQ. This is 3 points away from being a perfectly printed and cut note. And if we take a look at the front of the bill, we can see that we are missing something here. In fact, we're missing the second print, and this is due to an insufficient inking error. When taking a look at this note and identifying the errors, it could have been one of two errors. The first being a missing print error, which would have meant that this sheet never went through the second printing process. However, it is an insufficient inking error, which means it did go through the second printing process, does have some of the embossing, which is how they're able to determine that it is insufficient inking versus missing print. However, it wasn't enough of an impression to be able to determine the year or any other identifying markers. And like I've said before, the more severe an error is, the higher the premium is going to be. And due to the severity of this error and the grade it received, this note sold for $630 on March 28th of this year. Moving right along to our fourth note of the day, we have a 1988A Federal Reserve note from New York, graded by PCGS Banknote, a 67 PPQ. This note, we can see that we are missing the district seal, the treasury seal, and the serial numbers, and this is due to the insufficient inking. Now, we are unable to determine the serial number. In some instances, we are able to determine the serial number by maneuvering the note under the light to see the shadows, but unfortunately for this note, they were unable to determine the serial number. However, unlike our third note, we are able to see the year, the signatures, things along those lines, because the insufficient inking happened on the third print. And due to the condition and the error type, this note sold for $1,020 on August 29th of this year. Now, some of you may have seen this type of note before. This is a 1953B silver certificate graded by PCGS Banknote and received a superb gem uncirculated grade of 68 PPQ. Now, this is a very common silver certificate, but what makes this note so special is the condition that it's in. Now, in the PCGS banknote population for this particular Friedberg number, this is the only 68 PPQ with none graded higher. And if we take a look at the PMG population report, it shows that there are 3 graded equal to this note and none finer. This is what we would consider a top pop note, and that is why this very common $10 silver certificate sold for $1,080 on September 15th of this year. Our sixth note of the day is a beautiful 1928 gold certificate graded by PMG, a 67 EPQ. Now, I'm not sure if any of my viewers have ever seen a gold certificate before, but I find these notes to be very beautiful. They are a little bit different because of the gold ink that they use in the serial number and the seal. It is also a very well-margined note. The eye appeal is exceptional. And I was taking a look at the PMG population report, they have graded 3,305 gold certificates with this particular Friedberg number, and only 8, including this one, have ever received the 67 grade, with only 2 higher. It looks like the average grade ranges in very fine condition, which ranges from a VF20 to a VF35. So this is honestly a very incredible note, and for the condition alone is the reason why this note sold for $5,280 on September 15th of this year. Our 7th note of the day is a 2004A Federal Reserve note from Philadelphia, graded by PMG, an incredible 70 EPQ with the star designation. Now, the 70 grade is the only grade that will automatically carry that star designation, and this truly is a remarkable note. PMG has graded 131 of the Friedberg number that we have here, and this is the only one in the PMG's population report with this grade. So this is a top pop note. There is no note finer. The front of this bill is perfectly centered, and the vase to back registration is also perfect, which honestly, it's a very hard thing to come across when you have notes, because there's so many variables that go into printing them. So someone took this 2004A Federal Reserve note, got it graded, and sold it for $5,760 on January 13th of this year. Our 8th note of the day is a 1933 silver certificate graded by PMG, a very fine 25. And what's so special about this note type is that it is deemed the king of silver. This is the most sought after small size silver certificate that I've ever come across, that any collector I've ever spoken to has ever come across. I have only seen a handful of these. Most of them have been when I worked at PMG. However, when I did work for a coin dealer, they actually had a customer come across their store, and we were able to obtain it by offering a very fair price for it. And the reason why this silver certificate is so rare and sought after is because it is a 1-year type. There are no other $10 silver certificates that are going to have this design, and if you took a look at my thumbnail, you'll definitely see that there is a difference in design type. What makes this note type so rare? It is because in 1933 there was a print run of 216,000 notes. Estimated 60,000 of these notes were destroyed, and it's suggested that ultimately there's only 156,000 $10 1933 silver certificates in existence. So even in this low grade of 25, this note sold for $7,800 on September 15th of this year. Our second to last note of the day is a 1928 Federal Reserve note from Minneapolis, graded by PMG, a 64 EPQ, and this note type is the lowest printed for the series and is the finest example graded by PMG. Now, this note was last seen in auction back in 2009 at the Long Beach Coin and Currency Show, and the closest competitor to this note was a 55 EPQ that was graded by PMG, and that last sold for $8,400 in July of 2021. And this note, being 6 grades higher, sold for $14,400 on September 15th of this year. Our last and final note of the day is another 1933 silver certificate graded by PMG, a remarkable 66 EPQ. We already went over the specificity of the $10 1933 silver certificate, so we already understand the rarity. But if we take a very close look at the serial number, we have an incredibly low serial number. This is serial number 88, and PMG has only graded 1 higher and 4 equal to this note. Our third to last note was graded a very fine 25, and that sold for $7,800. And this note that we have in front of us is 13 grades higher, and this note sold for $50,400 on January 14th of 2022. I really appreciate you guys listening, and if you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it, I would appreciate it if you liked, commented, and subscribed, and I'll see you in the next one.